Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming back. Just a few more seconds of that awkward silence till we see everybody kind of come into the room.
Hello, Tammy. Since you decided to say hello, we can say hello.
Coming in fast.
Welcome back to those of you who saw me before. And if there's any newbies, new kids on the block, welcome. I see some familiar names. By the way, thanks to everybody for being so engaged. It was great to see the chat. I really couldn't keep up with all the conversation that was going on. And I hope that there's a way to capture that information and share it, because I think there were some great ideas in that chat that would be wonderful to get to your group as well.
Yeah, we can capture it in a report.
Okay, thanks, Lori.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, vet techs are multitaskers. You know, I do a talk on client service where I use a picture of an octopus for a client service person. Maybe we should use a squid for a technician, because there's even more tentacles from that standpoint. So, and yes, screenshots are great. What did we do before digital cameras when you could go up and take a picture of the presentation on the screen, you know?
Yeah. Well, everybody, it's 3:30, and I want to welcome you all back to our last session of the day with Dr. Peter Weinstein. I'm not going to go through his bio. I'm pretty much sure it's everybody else the same that was in the last session, but he does bring 14 years of executive director experience with an association for Southern California. So he's quite well diverse in the subject he's going to give to us today. And it's on non-dues revenue programs. So without further ado, Dr. Weinstein.
Thank you, Lori. Thanks to all of you who are back. And if there's some newbies, that's pretty cool as well. Let me make sure I've got the slide deck up and running. How's that look, Lori?
Looks good.
Okay. So I am a veterinarian. Don't hold that against me, because I'm a huge advocate and supporter of the technicians, the licensed technicians. And I also owned a veterinary hospital. So I have both run and owned a for-profit business and a non-for-profit business. And when I was asked to be the executive director for the SCVMA, it was with no experience running an association. I was president of the association. I've been president of a number of associations, but I had never been the executive director per se. So all I knew is how to run a business. And I just took and ran a non-for-profit as if it were a veterinary hospital. No, I did it better than that. I did it as if it were a small business, an organized small business, an efficient small business. And so we're going to talk about non-dues revenue programs in just a moment. My email is on the screen. If you would like a copy of the slide deck, feel free. I will be more than happy to share it with you if you find that it will be useful. Before we get deep into this concept of non-dues revenue, let's just start with some basics. Now, I apologize ahead of time if this is really mundane for many of you. I hope it is, because that means you're doing a great job. That means you actually have a budget. Now, if I were to put a polling question in here, the question would be, does your professional association, technician association, have a budget? Let's hope so. It's really hard to manage a business without a budget. So I guess I got one answer that was yes. You're more than welcome to put the yeses in. Those of you who don't put a yes in, we can assume it's a no. But if you have a budget, that's step number one, because it also means you know what your expenses are, which is where you spend your money. And what's interesting is you, as a professional association, have a budget. And I would bet a large portion of the veterinary hospitals that you work with don't have a budget. It is amazing how many veterinary hospitals do not emphasize not have a budget. So having a budget is important. Understanding what expenses are is extremely important. And understanding where your income or where you make your money comes from is extremely important as well. We're not going to talk much about expenses today. I really believe that most associations, as most veterinary hospitals, have squeezed their expense side so much that there's not a lot of flexibility in terms of expense control. But I do feel that there's different opportunities on the income side. So when it comes to a budget, there are a couple of different categories that we look at on the income side. Membership dues, CE, sponsorships. The little graphic on the bottom right is actually the top half of a simplified version of the top half of our budget for the SCVMA. Dues, advertising, programs, which included CE, our annual installation, and other programs, sponsorships, contributions, donations, rent and utility reimbursement for the rent, and then other. So what are some of the income that your associations have? Anything outside of these categories that I see Nanette put in swag? I guess that would be shirts, socks, underwear, scrubs, etc. Printing. So the swag sales, insurance, good on the insurance side. Stickers, cool. Legal fees, legal representation. Job board, good. I think our job board are classified as under programs or advertising. So some of those may be, as noted, some of those may be, they will be both on the expense side and the income side. You will pay the job board, but you pay to be listed on the job board. You buy the t-shirts, but you sell the t-shirts. So these are the areas where you get your income. Dues revenue, pretty straightforward. Revenue earned from charging members a membership fee. Period. Non-dues revenue. Any income made through means other than membership dues. That was tough, wasn't it? So there's membership dues that your members pay, and there's non-dues revenue that you get from all sorts of different things like the swag and the insurance and sponsorships and everything else. T-shirt drives, silent auctions, yep, all sorts of good stuff. Let's take a deeper dive. Membership-based non-dues revenue. So this is not membership dues. These are income that you make from your membership above and beyond the dues that they pay. Income from your membership above and beyond the dues that they pay. Now, some of you charge CE for your, charge a fee for your CE, whether it's live or virtual. That is non-dues revenue. If you sell t-shirts, merchandise, that's non-dues revenue. Classified advertising, job boards, non-dues revenue. Any publications that you may have that you sell advertising in or are sponsored, non-dues revenue. Those, let me take a step back in the publications. If you sell a publication to a member, if you sell a report to a member, that is non-dues revenue. Okay, so these are the categories that come from payments from your members above and beyond the dues that they pay. And then we have the external sources. These are the sources that come from outside your membership, and they include CE sponsorship, magazine advertising, newsletter sponsorship, other event sponsorships, and what we call affinity partnerships, which go into a variety of different categories. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Leanne also noted grants. Yes. Income from members can be dues. Income can be members, can also be non-dues. And then we have all of these other income streams in terms of non-dues revenue that can come from sponsorships. Those cover the vast majority of your total dues package from that standpoint. Aren't there sales tax considerations of selling things? Yes, there are sales tax considerations from selling things. There's actually tax considerations if you actually have too much of a, depending on where your income is coming from. Seek your accountant's advice from that standpoint. But let me tell you something, Linda. I wouldn't worry about the sales tax if you can make a heck of a lot of money selling stuff. You'll make up for it in other ways. It's that income, that gap that you can make by selling stuff. You'll see the slide later. I ran a non-for-profit as if it were a for-profit, and I had my accountant help make sure that we didn't have a big tax exposure. Katie, I'm familiar with making income statement, but is there a program you recommend to keep track of income expenses for an association? We used QuickBooks. That was straightforward. We use QuickBooks. So, okay, let me move right along. Quicken works fine. There's all sorts. You could actually use Excel if you want to, depending upon how complex your program is. If you do have an accountant, check with your accountant, see what they like to work with. Whoops, moving right along. So where your members think their money comes from. So this is a non-scientific study. It was done through one of the associations like ASAE, the American Society of Association Executives. Your members think all of that money that you make, 10% comes from their dues. They think that 56% comes from non-dues revenue. 56% of your members think that non-dues revenue is less than half, and 31% thinks that non-dues revenue is greater than half. So can I tell you something? Your members don't know where you make your money from. Period, exclamation point. Your members do not know where your money is coming from. By the way, Nanette is right on. If you don't understand QuickBooks, don't use it. There's a learning curve from that standpoint, and it's probably more than the average small association needs. Because of the size of our association, we were able to use it. There is a non-for-profit version of QuickBooks as well. And Rebecca notes, helping leadership of a not-for-profit understand that it's okay to make money is a big shift. Yes, it is. You can make money. If you make money and you have to pay taxes, it's better than not making money and not paying taxes. It is okay to make money. VMAE, the Veterinary Medical Association Executive Survey 2014, 42% of the members' revenue came from dues. So this is all of the associations within the veterinary profession. Survey done, it's a bit dated now, but they haven't done a more recent one. In surveying the members of VMAE, 42% of revenue came from dues. 35% came from CE programs, and 9% came from exhibitor fees. All right. Where do your numbers stand? You need to know that. And 8% from sponsorships. The higher your dues percentage, the higher that 42% goes, the more you're dependent upon your people to pay your bills. ASAE, the American Society of Association Executives. The percentage of revenue from dues, 39% of an association's total revenue in a 2021 survey. Okay. The 1950s, membership dues were 96% of revenue. 2016, depending upon the type of association, it was less than 50%. Nikki puts a pie chart showing the breakdown of expenses and income. Excellent. Share that information. I think your members could benefit from learning about it. So let's take a look at the SCVMA in my experience. Our budget was 26% dues revenue, 24% events, programs, rent, etc., and 50% from advertising. Holy guacamole, 50% from advertising. Well, we had a 64-page full color magazine, and the advertising in it included classified ads, included display ads, it included educational programs, but since more than 50% of it was in Education magazine, so far we've been able to fly under the radar screen with respect to our taxes and our responsibilities from that standpoint. So if we start selling things like shirts and we want to be a nonprofit, should we get an accountant to help us with making sure everything is set up with taxes, et cetera? Yes. Yes, if you're going to start to increase a tremendous amount of if a very large portion of your revenue stream is going to come from the sale of products, yeah, you need to have an accountant make sure that they watch your back on that one. But don't not do it just because of that. I guess I'm referring to an association I'm a member of, not serving on, and many members want to see their financials. Yeah, I'm glad there are members who want to see your financials, because that's not always the case. We so 26% from dues, which meant during COVID, if we kept our dues where it was, then we had to continue to our advertising never wavered because the magazine kept going out. Financials should be available to public or not on a non-for-profit. Absolutely. All right, what did we do? Non-dues revenue examples from the SCVMA. Advertising, I mentioned it. When we talked about advertising here, it was primarily in our magazine, which also was available as a print and digital version. And we had no problems with the advertising because the vast majority of the magazine, more than 50% of it, was content. Rent, wow, rent, yes, we actually owned our building, and we rented half of it. The building was paid in full. It was paid for and bought by the association about 15 years ago with some help from some members, but it's paid in full. And so it was an income stream. Now, I'm not suggesting that most of your associations could do that, but if you can, we made money because we made it from the rent of the other half of the building. We had a sponsorship portfolio, which I'll share with you in just a moment, where our members, not our members, our sponsors could pay out one lump sum for the year and got a whole bunch of benefits throughout the year. We had a number of affinity partners, which are basically businesses that paid to play. In other words, credit card companies and the like, that in exchange for our promoting their being a preferred provider, they were able to pay us money in exchange for that as well. Live CE, anytime it wasn't a member attending Live CE, we charged for it. Some of our topics, some of our speakers drew a lot of non-members as well. And then our annual celebration. Our annual celebration was strictly that. It was a celebration of our membership. It was a celebration of our sponsors. It was done at a nice venue. It was business casual to formal, and it brought in a lot of sponsorship support. Our COVID lunch and learns, huge source of income with very little expense. And we even did half-day virtual events just like this. We did half-day virtual events just like this, which again come with very little cost, staff time and Zoom, and had great sponsorship support from that standpoint. So these are some of the things that covered about 90% of our non-dues revenue. But when it comes down to non-dues revenue, what you're going to see in each one of these line items is to be able to be successful with non-dues revenues, you need to build relationships. This is how it really works. To be able to ask somebody for money, you have to have a relationship with them. And so my job, my role was to build relationships with sponsors and suppliers and what we called friends of the association. And I don't know if many of your associations have them, but we allowed industry members to be a part of our association. They could not vote. They could not serve on the board. But by being a member of the association, they got all the mailings, all the communications, and they knew exactly and everything that was going on. And so if I needed support, we had these friends of the association that I could reach out to and say, we're having this event. Would you like to be a part of it? Would you like to sponsor it? What level would you like to do so? But they knew all of the things that we do for the professional association in the area. And we knew each other by name because we met once or twice a year as a group to talk about the needs for the association. So one of the things to think about at the state level, and maybe even at the regional level for the large regional associations, is bring your sponsors together for lunch. Let them pay for it, but bring them together for lunch and tell them what your hopes are, what your expectations are, and see how they can help. You will be absolutely amazed how much sponsors can help you out. The more they realize that you, in your role within the association, but you within your role within the practice, act to help in the decision-making process, the more engaged they will be with you and your association. Until you ask, you don't know what opportunities exist. And so that's the thing that I usually always said to the sponsors is, I have no walls, I have no ceiling. You tell me what you have in mind and let's see what we can do it. So I really do think that you need to just ask, think outside the box, and don't have any walls, don't have any ceilings. Did we offer exclusives? No. We could have 3 or 4 different sponsors. We could have 3 or 4 different affinity partners in the same category, because I want it to be inclusive. Even though I may have given up income opportunities by not offering an exclusive, we wanted everybody to feel that they could participate at whatever level they wanted to participate. Did I waste my time? Yeah, sometimes I spun my wheels with some of the things that we talked about. Did some things just not work? Yeah, but if I didn't try it, I wouldn't know. And were some things home runs? Absolutely. We had some grand slams and we had some strikeouts. Fortunately, we had more grand slams than strikeouts. It never hurts to ask. We are a 501c6, that is correct. But we also had a 501c3. So sponsors grew when they saw who else was involved and they started planning ahead. Yes, there's great competition within those sponsors. You tell them somebody's involved, they'll want to be a part of it too. All right, let's keep going. So here are some suggestions. This was our building in Cypress, California. We owned the whole building. We used the front half and we rented out the back half. Do you want to be a landlord? Yeah, guess what? Sometimes things break. Sometimes there's problems and you have costs. That's what insurance is for sometimes, but sometimes they're out of pocket. So when you do become a landlord, it comes with risk, but it comes with reward. In 14 years, we had 3 tenants. You can't ask for better than that. And every time they paid rent, it was all profit, except for any expenses that we had. They paid their own utilities, their own cable, and everything else. We just maintained the building for them. Sell space on your website. If, you know, the bottom half, the right-hand side is the bottom half of our website at scvma.org. These are our platinum sponsors. They pay a premium to be there. And any other sponsors who want to be platinum are more than welcome to pay a premium to be there. We also had gold level, we had a silver level. And we were working on a sponsors page where this would be just a page with all sponsors and not just on the front page of the website. But all of these things send a message to the other sponsors, and they send a message to your members that these are people to compete with. And so each of these companies, Hills and BI, for example, also got a tremendous amount of lift from the CE programs that they sponsored as well. Website advertisement, having trouble determining a good fee hierarchy. Start low, work high, start high, work down. It's amazing. If you've got some really good sponsors that help support you in other programs, you know, they'll want to be promoted on this on the website as well. I think we sometimes don't ask enough. So when you're in the association management world, take off your veterinary hospital hat and ask for a lot of money, because we always are so afraid to ask clients for money. And so, yes, when and they pay a flat fee for the year to be a part of this. And it comes with other perks, and I'll show you that in just a minute, because these are our platinum sponsors. But you got to ask. And yes, and don't forget to ask the smaller companies as well. We had some startups that wanted to be involved in terms of sponsoring CE programs, and it was great. And we also put together 3 or 4 small companies for CE events because they couldn't afford the cost for CE, but together they could. There's all sorts of different ways to create synergies if you ask. We have an e-newsletter. So this e-newsletter is a business e-newsletter. It's digital. The 8 or 9 companies that you see on the bottom of this slide, all paid to be there, came out once a month. They were, each month they had a sponsors corner. So each one of them were able to promote their company on this page, as well as on the link to the e-newsletter. We made a couple of $1,000s a year. I want to say $5,000 net per year through this e-newsletter. And all we did is collate articles and lay it out and send this link out to our membership once a month. And these 9 sponsors all paid to be a part of it. New member packets. So you're going to send a new member packet. How about if somebody wants to provide pens for a price? How about if somebody wants to provide other tchotchkes? All of these companies have logoed stuff that they want to give away. Well, tell them you'll be more than happy to do so for a fee. Tell them you're more than happy. Coupons, promotional flyers. These are going to your new member veterinarians, new member technicians, new member whatever it is. They all went from that standpoint. And we just came up with all sorts of ideas. We had stress balls that we sent out with logos on them. So, but companies will provide stuff to go in, and I think we used the medium priority boxes from the U.S. Postal Service. It was about 12 or 15 bucks a month in postage, but everything that went in there had no cost to us. So for 15 bucks a month, we sent a goodie box to all of our new members. And we would get anywhere from 5 to 25 new members a month, depending upon the time of year and some of the CE programs. Cans, yes, water bottles, stickers, all sorts of different things. We had a marketing brochure. And this went to anybody who asked about the association. This went to our industry players as well. And it was a 4-page bifold, talked about our why you should become a member. And we were in the process of trying to sell advertising on it, but we ran out of space because there was so much content. But this concept of having an advertising marketing brochure that you could send out as a PDF, you could send it out as a hard copy that has advertising on it as well. You're selling space, you're selling visibility from that standpoint. Now, here's a controversial one. Don't yell at me for this, please. Selling membership lists. Selling membership lists. How many members did you average during your time as executive director? We went from 1,400, actually 1,200 to 1,600. So we had a positive of 400, maybe 500 net over 14 years. So what is that, 40, 50 a year, which means we were replacing those who died or moved. I'm pretty happy at 4 or 5 new members a month. So how many members did you average? Now that's on the veterinary side alone, but we went from a total of 1,200 members when I started to over 2,500 members when I left, because we expanded our membership to include paraprofessionals, allied industry, and other members from that standpoint. So we doubled our membership in 14 years by adding diversity to our membership as well. That's dues income though, not non-dues. But selling mailing lists, questionable. People want their privacy. We made a decision to not sell mailing lists. But when we did for the first few years, I could sell our mailing labels for anywhere from $500 to $1,000 for our mailing labels. It cost me $100. I would net 400, net 900, depending how much of the database they wanted. You can make a lot of money selling email lists, but you can piss off a lot of members. We opted not to piss off our members. Up to you how you want to do it. But what we did offer is if they wanted to pay us to become an affinity partner, then we would share their information with our members for a fee as well. We would not sell our lists, but we could get paid to do a paid send from that standpoint. Congratulations to Rebecca, who has tripled, quadrupled, more than tripled from that standpoint. Okay, moving on. Our annual celebration, huge source for income. We had a installation of officers, award ceremonies, silent auctions, great advertising, great promotion. It was all about celebrating the industry. We had some complimentary tickets that we gave away. We would have 300 people together for a night, and it was just a huge celebration. It had a very high net because the tickets came with a price that allowed us to make money on the sale of each ticket, especially since the vast majority of our expenses were covered by sponsorship. Have an event that's not education-based, that's fun. We had this event at various locations, including Disney hotels. Yes, does it come with a cost? Yes, you got to spend money to make money, but you always want to make more money than you spend. You need to spend money to make money, but you always want to make more money than you spend. That's how you run a business. Social media, this was our Facebook page. I was trying to get to the point that we could sell educational posts provided by whomever wanted to do it, but we would post it and host it. Sponsored posts for a price. We hadn't quite gotten to that yet. I think social media is still an untapped opportunity from that standpoint. Whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, etc., there's a great opportunity to use your social media to post and to sell from that standpoint. This was our website. It just shows a couple of the different links, but our website, all of our CE meetings were located in one location. You could go on the website and register for them. The Veterinary Team Members Group, formerly known as the Paraprofessional Group, and CARFTA, a Veterinary Technician Specialist Guide to Pain Management. So you can see we actually had technician-specific education. And then the listing below that was a chapter meeting that was regionally based that people could go to. The CE meetings, whether they're live or virtual, you could add exhibit halls to some of these. We didn't add exhibit halls per se, but what we did allow is the sponsors to do the emceeing. So the sponsors paid to MC these events, and as a result, we're able to promote their companies from that standpoint. Each of these links, if we were to click through them, would take you to the sponsor's logo as well as the information about the event from that standpoint. We had sponsored webinars, we had sponsored half-day events, we had sponsored CE, and then we also made our CE events available to other local associations. So, you know, we might partner with the San Diego County VMA or the Inland Empire Inland Empire VMA, And so we might allow them to attend. First one's free, but what we're trying to do is just get some additional money from other local associations. This was our listserv of our community. We theoretically could have put in right where it says latest discussions up here. I could run a series of logos. They actually had a slide set that could rotate logos in there, and you could sell advertising space in here as well. Our thought was $1,000 a month. If I had 5 logos, it's $5,000 a month. The listserv doesn't cost me that per year. So I'm looking at how I can make income just by putting logos up there with click-throughs. It would hyperlink to whether they wanted to an email, whether they wanted it to their website, however they wanted to do it. This was our magazine. We had, as I said, 64 pages. The vast majority of it was content, but there was advertisement sprinkled throughout by drug companies, by specialists, by referral companies, by classifieds. I mean, we had all sorts of different things. This was a huge, absolutely huge source of income for the association. What membership platform did you use to your membership database? We used YM, Your Membership, YM. There's a number of good ones. They are expensive. And so you want to do your due diligence. If you want the names of some different membership platforms, feel free to send me an email offline and I will be more than happy to give you some names, but the membership platforms are not inexpensive. Okay, so this was the source. This magazine has been published for over 60 years in Southern California. This was the source for our greatest profit margin in anything that we did. Really, really good stuff from that standpoint. It takes a lot of work. I have one person whose job is half-time to put this magazine together. I pay paid authors every month to create content, but we got 80% of the content was free from specialists and experts in the region or around the country. Naming opportunities. So you can't go to the Orange Bowl now, it's the Capital One Orange Bowl. I think it's the United Airlines Rose Bowl. I didn't do this, but since we own the building, I thought, what about a naming opportunity for our conference room, the Peter Weinstein conference room, the John Doe Library. I even thought about selling the bathroom doors. Didn't go there, but I thought about it because I was running this like a business. You know, what about a naming opportunity? Can I imagine 2022, the Hills Southern California Veterinary Medical Association building? You know, this is where my mind went. How can I make something for the business of the association? Because it allowed me to do a lot more when I had a lot more money. Okay, so you saw those platinum sponsors before. Our platinum sponsors for $9,500, it's up to $10,500 now, got a whole litany of educational stuff. Leadership, they got lead sponsorship for 2 CE meetings. They got free memberships, and you can build whatever portfolio you want from that standpoint. But for $10,000 a year, they got to be a platinum sponsor. And we did not limit the number of platinum sponsors. At one point in time, we had 5 platinum sponsors, but they're paying for a whole coterie menu of items and getting full year's worth of promotion. So their logos would go on everything that we did that wasn't being sponsored by somebody else. And you can build out anything that you want that goes into one big portfolio, one-stop shopping. And we made it easy for me to know that I had $10, $20, $30, $40,000 of income that I could use for all sorts of different things from this standpoint. And for naming opportunities, did you do a bid or how did you select who gets the name? Well, Katie, what I'd like to say is we got to that point in time, but I was too embarrassed and I was too busy doing all of these other things to even go to the naming opportunity. But I really thought about it. And I would say you set a price and who's ever willing to take that price is what you go for. I think there's some great opportunities for people who want, you could buy for a 5-year naming opportunity, you could have a 10-year, you could have in perpetuity. If people want to make a gift in kind, it's like the universities who name a chair for a faculty member and it helps offset the cost of a faculty member. All of these things. Hey, I know I'm crazy, but this is the way I think. Did you lobby? Yes. Now, okay. If you're talking about lobby in terms of political action, we had a political action committee. All our money, we had a separate PAC account. All of the lobbying money was separated out from the association money. We did not commingle lobbying money and association money. There was a separate account and separate contributions went for lobbying purposes, because you can expense membership dues, but you can't expense lobbying contributions. It's a different discussion. Lobbying is not a non-dues revenue stream. Lobbying is a completely different discussion. Maureen, just send me an email and I will share you this. I'll share this sponsorship portfolio with you. Okay, let me keep moving. Otherwise, I will do what I do well, which is run late. Okay, I'm a veterinarian. I'm never on time. And you think I jest. Okay, platinum portfolio. Let's see, affinity partners. So these are your smaller companies that want to get promoted and they will pay to have access and recognition. We had about 16 of them. Credit card companies, for example, will pay a percentage of the use of the credit card use of the credit card at the businesses that they get referred to. Insurance sales, somebody noted that they have an insurance sales. I don't know why some of you guys don't partner with a scrub company where you become the preferred provider for figs, and every fig that gets sold through your website, you get $5 from or $3 from or whatever the case may be. A job board, basically we did, it's called our classifieds and it's in our magazine, but it's also online. We have a hyperlink. You see where it says, find a veterinarian is looking for member veterinarians, where it says resources here. Under resources, you would find the classified ads as well. So yes, but all of these affinity partners, either they offered a discount to our membership, which was a value add, or they offered cash back to us, not so much cash back to us, but they offered money back to us for helping promote their company. And we made thousands of dollars per year through the credit card companies by the use of the credit card by our members from that standpoint. Co-sponsor agreements for CE. So in the state of California, the Southern California VMA is able to provide CE certification, sort of like RACE, but for the state of California. Well, there are some companies that wanted to do CE programs. Many of these that you see here wanted to do CE programs, but they couldn't provide CE credits. So they would partner with us and pay us to co-host and co-sponsor CE. Cost us nothing. We did the advertising. They did everything else. And so we were able to make money by helping our affinity partners and our friends of the association sponsor their own CE programs locally. We would not sponsor anything that would directly compete with any of the events that we were doing. So if somebody wanted to do something on Tuesday and we were doing something on Tuesday, sorry, we can't help you out. But 2 weeks later, if they wanted to do it and we had an opening, be more than happy to make $500 just for helping you run a CE program. Use your imagination. Most of the stuff that I showed you was not being done by the association when I took over. When I took over, it was pretty much the magazine and membership, and a limited membership really just to veterinarians. So over the last 14 years, I read about all sorts of different things being done by all sorts of other associations outside of the veterinary profession. And I said, let's give it a try. Some things worked, some things didn't. The one thing that I stopped immediately as a local association was I stopped trying to run a 3-day CE program. It took too much effort with too little return, and it really wasn't making all that much money. So instead of running a 3-day weekend program, I ran monthly programs every Sunday, one Sunday a month. And I made money because veterinarians didn't mind coming out for 6 hours of CE, which was about just a little bit less than half of their annual need. They need 30 hours, and I believe it's 30 hours in the state of California. So they could get 6 hours, and they could get that every month throughout the year, hosted by SCVMA for free. So the one thing I stopped was the one thing that everybody does, which is these weekend big conglomerates that also the sponsors weren't thrilled with spending time standing around in a not so busy exhibit hall while everybody's in class. But they loved the fact that if I did a 6-hour event, they were there in the room when we did the CE, and they could network with the 200 people that I could get on a Sunday. So we did partner for a short period of time with the California VMA to promote their event. But really what we did is we just simplified what we did well within our community. And use your imagination, think differently. Seeking ideas outside of the veterinary profession is huge. It goes back to something I said earlier, just ask. Ask your sponsors what they want and see what you can do. Here's an example. 6 years ago, we wanted to do something for our membership. And we wanted to do something that would be fun. So we rented out the LA Zoo, not so much the whole zoo, but we rented out their lunch area that held 200 to 300 people. And we invited 300 of our members with their families to go to the zoo and have lunch on us for free, as sponsored by 15 different members of the industry world. People don't forget that stuff. And all we did was ask at a meeting of our allied industry, what would you be interested in sponsoring that would be fun? So we did a zoo day. We did that for 2 years. Then we did movie day. The Secret Life of Pets. We rented out 3 full movie theaters in Los Angeles area, and we sold out 3 full movie theaters for free for our members. Just ask what sponsors want. How did you decide which 300 members to invite to the zoo? First come, first serve. Classic veterinarians who were late to the show didn't get in. But yes, we encouraged rapid response from that standpoint. When we said it right up, these tickets will go fast. First come, first serve. Did we piss off some of our members? Yes. But had they full transparency ahead of time? Yes. 44% of associations can double their revenue through non-due sources, but only 1% ask sponsors what they want. 44% of your associations can double their revenue through non-due sources, but only 1% ask sponsors what they want. Just ask. And talk about the benefit to the sponsors as well. Targeted audience, LA, Orange County, whatever city, whatever county, whatever. Let them be involved with the decision. Engage them with the parts of it. It's a feel-good grassroots. Most of the small local reps are visiting with you in your practices, and they're visiting with other practices around the community. They know people. Your reps that visit you in your practices, very good sources for information. So what's in it for them, or what's in it for me, is relationships. Talked about relationships with engagement. When it comes to non-dues, it's the same from that standpoint. By not focusing just on dues, you can diversify. You can think of it as an investment portfolio. You don't want to put all of it in stocks. You want to have some in bonds, because there could be economic issues that might impact industry. There could be some economic issues that impact membership. So if you have some diversification, you might be able to pick things up. By the way, the SCVMA has not increased its membership dues in over 25 years. The dues for veterinary membership are the same in 2022 as they were in 1997. The dues for the SCVMA, Southern California Veterinary Medical Association, are the same in 2022 as they were in 1997. Because we've been able to diversify. And we may, I hate to say it, we had more money in the bank after COVID than we did at any point in time in the 14 years that I was executive director. And I think a lot of it had to do with all of our expenses being pulled back because we didn't have room rentals and everything else, but all of our income continuing to come in. So here's the scary thought. Run your non-for-profit as a for-profit. Focus on maximizing your income, minimizing your expenses. Work with your accountant to keep you protected, but recognize that if you make too much money and you have to pay taxes, it's a heck of a lot better than not making enough money and having no tax exposure. When it comes to balancing a budget, you have two choices frequently. You can increase your dues, or you can increase your non-dues revenue. What you going to do? Piss off your members or work with your sponsors from that standpoint? So what's this question? Do you have different levels of memberships? Yes, we do. Our dues for veterinarians are different than dues for paraprofessionals. There's a different rate for industry members as well. But we made our membership for paraprofessionals very, very affordable because we so are focused on the team-based delivery of healthcare. What did my friend Rebecca say? Industry partners know veterinary technicians are the heart and soul, heart and hand of veterinary medicine. Yes, right on. High five, Rebecca, from California to Colorado. All right, moving right along. So get started. What is your goal? How much money do you want to make? Set a goal. 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 100,000. Set a goal of non-dues revenue. Then ask yourself, what are the ideas that I have? And how can I execute the ideas? What's it going to take? Phone calls, emails, letters, postcards, promises, threats? How much is it going to cost for me to do this extra work? Do I have to hire somebody? It's not going to cost you much, by the way. It's just a phone call, an email, a face-to-face meeting, a cup of coffee. But by doing so, if I could bring in $10,000 of additional smart money from sponsors, how can I use this to benefit membership? What will it do? Will it allow me to bring in better speakers? Will it allow me to pay speakers? Will it allow me to get membership cards, t-shirts? By the way, when we did the zoo event, every attendee got an SCVMA Goes to the Zoo t-shirt with all of the sponsors on the back of the t-shirt that they wore around the zoo for that day. Talk about value add. Think about what you want to make. Think about how you're going to do it, and then just start asking. Who's going to manage it? Is it going to be you? Do you need somebody else? How do you get the word out? Have a meeting. Bring everybody together. If something worked, share the ideas with others. If something hasn't worked, share that idea with others too. Don't continue to make the same mistakes, but just try things. Thoughts on investing to make additional income? Yes. What you need to do is, and what we did is we have an operating budget and we have an investment budget. You need to keep an account with enough money that you can pay the bills. And what we did is we knew what our annual expenses were. We kept enough money in the bank to cover those annual expenses, and everything else we would go into investment accounts. So yes, investments, but you need to look at investing as a long-term commitment. So you're not trying to jump in and out. And by the way, real estate, for the most part, is a great investment because the building that we're in is appreciated about 40% in 15 years, which isn't stock, but it's not bad. And we're making money on it concurrently. So, I mean, if we were going to resell it, we would make 100% profit because it's paid in full. Okay, let's wrap it up. Non-dues revenue enhances your opportunities to do more. Non-dues revenues enhances your opportunities to do more. So if any of you in your associations had more money, what would you do with it? This is the open conversation. Pop it in the chat. What would you do if you had more money for your members? More socials. Like that. And yes, we have a financial planner who does this for us. Scholarships for members. Absolutely. We've created a scholarship fund as a result of some of the money. An appreciation party. Yes, that's what the zoo was, an appreciation party. Scholarships. More CE, great. So now that you've got these ideas and these desires, they're on your want list, right? They're like, they're on your want, the lobbyists, great. All of these things need money. Staff, great. Because by the way, Sam, with that staff, you can do more and make more money. Advance the profession, absolutely. How about promoting the profession from that standpoint? So with more money, you can do more. And by doing more, you can make a difference in this profession long-term. And if we do nothing else, if we could make veterinary technicians have a career in veterinary medicine and encourage them and support them and deal with the mental health issues and make them feel good about their career choice, I think that is where a lot of our money as a profession, not just you guys locally, but at the AVMA level and at the state and local level, we need to be investing in our people more than anything else right now. We have an investment team, which is usually the executive board, Katie. We have an executive board and we have a financial planner that handles this for us. So on that note, great interaction again. Thank you so much for your participation. As I noted, I'm not sure all of these ideas will work for all of you, but what I really want you to think about is being different. What can you do? And it may be regional, it may be statewide, but what can you do so that you don't have to worry about how you're going to pay your bills tomorrow? Thanks, Lori. Thanks, NAVTA. Thanks to all of you.
All as I can say is, wow. That's all I can say right now. I just wrote a whole list of stuff. I'm sure my boss won't like me come Monday, but that's okay. They're just suggestions, right? So I really would like to thank you and everyone that attended today. Please watch your emails for surveys that will come out on all 4 sessions. Certificates will be out next week. And again, everybody have a great day. And again, thank you so much, Dr. Weinstein.
Thank you, Lori. Thanks for the invitation. And I hope to see all of you somewhere down the road in some event. Maybe if you'll be at Las Vegas, we'll cross paths. If you see me somewhere, please come up and say hi. best of luck to all of you. And again, don't hesitate to reach out with any further questions. Lori, stay warm in New Jersey. I'm going to go out for a bike ride.
All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye-bye.